of Lamentations is a 5-chapter book mentioned in Second Chronicles towards the end of chapter 35, and it's likened and linked to prophet Jeremiah. There's some comments of weeping. The context is the same, with it circulating around the destruction of Jerusalem, and the prophet was known for writing and producing these laments as well. The work is anonymous. It is a acrostic. Really, it's 5 poems, 4 of which are acrostics, and you have the high point in the middle, and it kind of reducing over time. The next couple chapters are shorter and shorter. So there's a great arc and trajectory of this book, and many lessons to learn throughout its chapters. The first of these lessons you'll see is that the judgment that was being experienced was not something that was haphazard, was not something that was natural or because of man, some kind of natural cause or warfare. It was because of sin. It was because the people had disobeyed their covenant, and that all the blessings that they had known had been conditionally promised based on them holding up their end of the bargain as well. So, of course, the unconditional parts of the covenant, Christ and so on, that would remain, but they certainly had to suffer in the meantime. As you go through, you see that, again, the high point is really Lamentations 3:23, and that God's mercies and faithfulness is new every morning, and, of course, great is God's faithfulness. You don't see this repentance and all that resolved in this, and the writer is still certainly in a state of mourning and grief by the end of this book. But at the same time, the hope is there, and that's the nature of grief itself, is that the most important thing is to express the grief in the mourning, and there is some healing that comes even in just expressing that emotion. So very psalm-like quality to this poetry, acrostic feel. It may not be the most uplifting thing to go through, but it's important that we think on these things so we don't repeat history's mistakes.